What's up guys, Anthony here with Empire Music. And today I'm showing you part of the new line from Fender, the Vintera Series. And today I'm going to be showing you the 50s era precision bass. And before we get going, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button down if you're watching this on YouTube. That way you can kind of stay up to date with our content that we're putting out there. And always keep in mind, we're here for you at the shop. If you need to talk to anyone here, get some advice or just get some specs, person to person or over the phone. If you're not local, it's 412-343-5299 to reach myself, Todd, or Joe here in the shop. And keep in mind, we always do free shipping on our stuff if you're not here in the Pittsburgh area, and there's interest-free financing options that are also available if you want to buy something. But if you're just here for information, we're happy to give that to you too. So like I said, take a second to hit subscribe. We greatly appreciate that. So this is the Vintera series from Fender, and that's new. That's part of the Mexican series stuff, so this is a Mexican-made bass. And what the Vintera series is kind of well, they call it a decades project. If you're at Fender watching this, I did your Fender Academy. That's how I know it's a decades project. Be very proud of me. Thanks, guys. I'm gold certified. So is Todd. So you're talking to gold certified Fender guys here. But anyway, yeah, it's a decades project. And by that, they mean that it's like 50s, 60s, or 70s era instruments. So what they're sort of doing there is taking the best of those eras and they're packaging it into a modern instrument. Some are very true to spec, some which would be called a modified version, and I do believe that pertains more to like the 6-string guitars. I don't think so much on the bass stuff, but if it's modified, then what you're getting is vintage inspired spec and sound, but with some modern spec and feel in there too, whether that's just a fretboard radius, whether that's a neck profile or pickups with like S1 switching. But none of that here. This is just the 50s precision bass. Let's just say it now. They're great. It's a fantastic bass. I love vintage P basses. You're probably sick of hearing me say that I own a custom shop 58 bass. I know everyone else here in the shop is sick of hearing about it because I love that bass. This is a great option, a lot like the American Originals that come in at a slightly lower price point than the Fender Custom Shop. If you still can't reach for that price point, the Vintera series is mega bang for your buck. It really feels and sounds a lot like a 50s P bass with a few modern touches to it. So quick rundown on the specs. Obviously it's a P bass, it's an ash body. This particular one's in vintage blonde. You can kind of see a little bit of the ash grain through there. That looks great. 1-ply anodized pick guard on there, cool. 4-saddle vintage bridge. It's got a vintage style 50s precision bass pickup, which sounds great. We all know what the precision bass controls are: volume, tone. Nothing else. We don't need anything more than that with P bass. As far as the neck, it is 1 3/4 inches at the nut. I love that. You get that 20 millimeter spacing about through the strings, unlike a modern P, which is 1 5/8 inches. I think 1 3/4 inches, it takes a little bit to get used to, but once you do, you love having that string spacing there. Reverse gear tuners, so that's vintage inspired. It's a gloss it's a gloss urethane finish on the neck. It's a gloss polyester finish on the body. The thing that is a nice kind of hybrid is that it's a vintage C profile on the neck. So you kind of have that modern profile, modern-ish profile as far as the depth here, but with 1 3/4 inches here at the nut. So you get that nice wide string spacing, but you get a little bit faster playability with it being a little bit narrow. That actually, I'm used to playing like a 50s oval C, which is more baseball battish, which I've actually really grown to like how kind of cumbersome that is. This is a nice kind of intermediate point there. If you're not ready for that big boy bass, that's like the real chunky neck, which can be kind of tough to play, but I like it. And the wider string spacing to me, it's great to have something super narrow and super fast, but we as bass players, we shouldn't be overplaying, and I know we're all guilty of that sometimes. But having the wider string spacing and not that this neck is chunky by any means, but a chunkier neck, whether that's via the spacing or the profile, it makes you kind of simplify your playing sometimes because, you know, you can't kind of get in your own way there with playing too many notes and having the rest of the band look at you like, hey man, know your role. You're a bass player, play the root note. And, well, you can do a little bit more than that, but it's always nice to kind of have, like you're kind of self-policed then as far as overplaying, at least I feel. So yeah, that's the spec on the bass. Feel-wise, it's great. It really reminds me, you know, if you pick up like a Fender custom shop instrument that's NOS, new old stock, which means, you know, no relicking on it at all, it really reminds me of that from a look and feel perspective, obviously without like the nitro finish stuff on there, which is a little tackier and a little bit stickier at first when you get it. You know, these are super smooth. But it plays and feels a lot like, you know, an expensive bass, and they're not. I mean, I think these come in around like the $1,000 price point. It's a no-brainer if you're looking to kind of get into something more vintage, looking for a good passive bass, looking for a backup bass. So there's myriad customers and players that this bass and the whole Vintera line would really kind of work for. So what's it sound like? I know you're all begging that question. I've been talking too long here, I know that. But it sounds great, and we're gonna play it wide open right now. I have volume and tone all the way up. We're playing through a Fender Rumble. We're micing the cab. We're not running direct. So what you're getting is what it's putting out. And if you're on computer speakers or phone speakers, then that may, you know, put some headphones in, man. Let's get some low end going there for sure. But yeah, if you're playing wide open, and it really just begs for big whole note, big lines, big boomy bass lines. Check it out. So playing down low, it's giving you everything that a P-bass should give you. If you're on a gig, you really want to fill up where the bass should be. P-basses always do that really well. This is no exception to it. I think it plays and feels like a bass that should cost a lot more than it does. Plays great. And then as we move up the neck, and you start digging a little bit, as a good P-bass should, that articulation of your attack comes out. You know, I've been playing a P-bass forever, so I understand that you want that big round tone. It's there, you play up a little bit further, but if you want that snap, 7 1/4 radius, I forgot to mention that, so vintage radius on there. So bending notes, a little bit tougher than with the flatter radius on there. Doesn't bother me. As bass players, we're not bending a ton of notes like a guitar player would be. But you know, that's kind of it. If you're slapping on it, I mean, I always like a J bass a little bit more for slap tone, but P bass sounds nice. It's that real woody, sort of thumpy, thuddy. Really hear it on that thump on the E string. I mean, I'm bending it a little bit, but not much of a slapper, forgive me. But nonetheless, great feeling bass. So, Vintera 50s P bass, fantastic instrument, Grab one if you're looking for something along those lines. Call me personally here at the shop, 412-343-5299. Happy to walk you through any information or anything that I left out. More than happy to get you hip to that type of stuff. Remember, free shipping if you're not local. Interest-free financing options are always available with us. Please hit subscribe. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out on Instagram. Whatever the social media of your choice is, we are there, and we're there to help you out, guys. So thanks a lot. All right, we'll see you.